What's up, everyone? Aaron Negler here with Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on Friday. Days are all messed up. Friday afternoon, Matt LaFleur just spoke. We heard from players yesterday, and now it's time to hear from you fine folks. See what's on the mind of Packers fans worldwide as the team continues to prepare for its showdown with the Lions on Monday night. Monday Night Football coming to Green Bay. Always a good time. The practice schedule, Patrick, hello. Herbert, what's up? The practice report being such as it is, all the same people that were out yesterday are out today, including Darnell Savage, Devontae Adams, etc. So clearly that's a bit of a bummer when it comes to Savage. Hope maybe he might be able to get on the practice field today, but 'twas not to be. So I would not expect to see him on Monday night, in addition to Devontae Adams. Herbert, favorite Smith song? It changes. I would say probably either Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want, or I don't know. That's a really tough one. I do like Ask. I think that's really good. Queen is Dead is great. Probably Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, though. It's probably number one. We'll love to see the Detroit run game get shut down. Well, William, you can bet there will be a lot of it for them to try and shut down. I actually just posted my matchup preview post and prediction at cheeseheadtv.com. Make sure you check that out. Kerryon Johnson, I think you're going to see a whole lot of him, a healthy dose. And yes, it'd be great if the Packers could shut him down. I don't anticipate that happening. I think they'll be able to run on the Packers, and a big part of the game will come down to, much like it did against Dallas, the offense doing its part to not necessarily completely take them out of the running game, make them one-dimensional, although that would be lovely. You can't really count on that. You would like to kind of keep the pressure on them to go to the air, though. Adam sounds like he's going to be out a few weeks now, open to looking at a wide receiver or keep giving our guys time. I'm going to keep answering this question the same way I've been answering it all year. I love their wide receivers. They don't need anybody else. I understand maybe a deal comes through and Gutekunst pulls the trigger on someone. I don't see it, but maybe it happens. They can win all the games they need to win with the talent they have on hand. And I don't understand why people think all of a sudden, oh, he's going to be out a couple weeks now. He was always going to be out a couple weeks. Turf toe is notoriously awful and difficult to come back from. It was always going to be a while. It gives these guys a golden opportunity to create some chemistry with Rodgers, learn what else they're strong at and good at on offense, and win a bunch of games while doing so. Do we see a healthy dose of Oren Burks to help cover Hawkinson? Brandon, I wrote about that actually in my matchup piece. I think he'll be part of the plan, no doubt about it. I think you'll see a rolling kind of herd of Martinez, Burks, maybe Jackson, maybe Redmond and or Chandon Sullivan, etc. Some bracket coverage. I don't think it'll be any one guy, but I do think Burks will be given a lot of that work. And hopefully he can hold up. I mean, Hawkinson, prior to the concussion, was looking pretty damn good for a rookie. So I do think he presents a matchup issue for this Packers defense. Just watched Total Access Packers with Aaron Jones. Good stuff. I'll have to check that out. Although I did see you're talking about the Total Packers on the Packers.com. That was pretty good with Larry. Larry does great stuff there. What is the Packers' biggest need at this point in the season? I don't know. Keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, probably. If you're talking about personnel acquisitions, this is your team. I understand people want to make trades and make moves, and maybe that happens. But I love what they got on hand. If you had to choose who is the most culpable in the interior of the defense for being so poor against the run, it's impossible to put it on one guy. That's the problem. If you could, you either bench him or you get him to play better, you fix his technique, etc. But it's not just one guy. That's the issue. If it was, it'd be a hell of a lot easier to fix. You got to play a lot better up front, technique-wise. Pettin maybe has to change up some things as far as what he's calling, run fits, etc. But trust me, if there was one easy fix, if it was one guy, it'd be fixed by now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I used to tell my Detroit friends that Stafford's good for 2 interceptions a game. I think the defense gets back to that Monday. Well, Patrick, I think to that point, I think that is the biggest key to this game is the fact that the Packers are second in the NFL when it comes to turnover differential. They're second to New England. I think New England's like +9. The Packers are at +7. Detroit's not too shabby in that regard. They're at +2, but I do think, that is the key. I think they will cause a couple turnovers and give Aaron Rodgers a few more opportunities. Maybe that's not the case in Detroit, but Monday night in Green Bay, the one issue, I think it's going to be the pass rush that makes those turnovers happen. Where I hesitate to think it'll be an interception is last year, both times when Stafford was faced with Pettine's defense, he did a really good job of diagnosing pressure pre-snap and getting them into stuff that took advantage of whatever Pettin was throwing at him. Now, obviously, he's got much different personnel this time around. Maybe that helps him not have to call so much pressure, and that forces Stafford into a mistake. But Stafford was a step ahead last year each and every turn. So it's going to be tough to get him to throw one to you. I do think that front can cause maybe a fumble or two and get the turnovers in that way. Will JK47 take advantage of the coffin corner? He hasn't been a big-time coffin corner guy. He's still a young player, obviously, but that hasn't really been his thing. But I hope so. That'd be nice for him to develop that. Do I think Savage will play? No, I do not. I'd be very surprised if he plays, actually. Who will come off of IR this year? I don't know, Nick. Probably. His name's now escaping me. I always want to say Ibrahim Campbell, but he's not on IR. He's on PUP. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Sternberger, though I doubt it. We'll see what their roster construction looks like when they're able to bring guys off of IR. So you think Jair has a bounce back game versus Marvin Jones? I don't think he'll be on Jones, actually. I think King will be on Jones. I think he'll probably be on Galladay. That guy's legit, man. Nagler, what is that hoodie? Oh, it's the Eastern State Penitentiary. It's outside of Philadelphia. It's an old school, huge, one of the OG big, humongous jails, penitentiaries that was built by this faction that wanted to change how jails were built. And Al Capone stayed there famously for a small stretch, and they still have his cell all made up. But it is a spooky ass place. It is huge. It looks like Shawshank Redemption, basically, but it was constructed in a way that, like, it was the first time they had, what was it called? Solitary confinement. And the way it was built was in a circle, and it was supposedly, psychologically supposed to help the prisoners, etc. Of course, none like that didn't come to pass because it's one of the spookiest, most scariest fucking places I've ever seen. But I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's outside Philadelphia. You can't miss it. It is really cool, though. It is a very, very cool place. And when I visited, it was an overcast day, kind of dreary, rainy. It was perfect. Is it beer 30 yet, Travis? As soon as I'm done here. Let MVS develop and get Vitali the ball immediately. Go Pack go. That is one of the best comments I've ever seen on these here chats. Well stated. Do they go back to lowering Aaron Jones' snap count if Williams is playing? I think a bit. I think they'll still run the offense through Jones. He is going to be their dynamic playmaker now that, Adams most likely is going to miss another game. I do think they have to run the offense through him, though. Now, undoubtedly, Matt Patricia will think the same thing and do everything in his power to limit his effectiveness. He's going to approach this game much differently than the Cowboys did. And LaFleur and company have to be able to have a 1-2 punch, a counter there, because Patricia very much comes from the Belichick school of find the thing they do the best and shut that down and make them beat you other ways. That has been their MO so far this young season, and I don't expect that to change on Monday night. Does the Detroit secondary have any holes we can exploit, Greg? They're pretty damn good this year. They might have if Darius Slay hadn't been able to come back from that hamstring injury, but the bye week came at a really good time for him. He's back at practice, so he's a premier corner, and he doesn't have to worry about Adams. So there's always ways you can do it, but they've played pretty darn good football this season. Obviously the Chiefs were able to move the ball a little bit, but the Chiefs moved the ball against everybody. They looked good against the Eagles. Yeah, the Packers are in for. I don't think they're going to shut them down, but yeah, there are no obvious glaring weak points in that secondary that I can see. How much more do you think the offense will improve over the remainder of the season? What is their ceiling? I think it'll continue to improve. I do think it's interesting that they had to start against so many really good, talented defensive fronts. That has given them some issues, especially obviously the Billy Turner issue has been well covered. Rodgers has had to kind of abandon plays at times because of a lack of interior pressure, etc. I do think as long as they're moving the ball and scoring points week to week, I don't know if I would categorize the ceiling, but they can put up 30 on anybody. They have the ability to, and that's what you need in this day and age. Now, are they going to do that? Probably not. But I think the potential is there, at least this season, for it to happen week in and week out. Is Williams playing for sure? Jade, he should be. He's back from concussion protocol, and he's a full participant in practice, so should be there. Over under on fullback dive. It is kind of funny how, because of their struggles at the 1 yard line, all of a sudden everyone's calling for the fullback dive. When McCarthy used to run the fullback dive, people hated it, but now people are pining for it. Obviously, sometimes it worked with John Kuhn, but I don't think the answer to their problem is fullback dive. As much as I love Danny Vitale, I'd love to see a Danny Vitale screen on the 1 yard line. That would be hot. Do I think the Lions will load the box? Not strictly. I do think they'll drop a guy late, try and quote unquote fool Aaron Rodgers. Though good luck with that. But I do think they will rotate into the box late and try and get numbers in there to try and limit what they're able to do with some of the inside zone stuff we saw against the Cowboys, which was really effective. Now, the counter to that for the Packers, and it was really effective on a number of plays down in Dallas, is that jet motion where you see the wide receiver sweep through the backfield right before the snap of the football. That widens rush lanes, especially from condensed formations. Those linebackers start taking false steps, and that opens things up. The one plus side for the Packers here is that Lions defensive line is really banged up. Obviously, Mike Daniels has not practiced. He's probably not going to play. A'Shawn Robinson has had issues. Snacks Harrison, he's back at practice, but he's coming off an injury. They're really banged up front. So that could play and work to the Packers' advantage when it comes to getting Aaron Jones and the running game on track. Tweet up this week, Dustin, probably. I'm going to do something probably Wednesday or so, Wednesday or Thursday. Just look out for my Twitter feed. I'll have something up. Breakout receiving game for Jimmy Graham? No. I wrote in my piece today, I believe this is the week that Jake Kumaro comes to life. He only got, 2 targets last week, but he was on the field for 67% of the offensive snaps. I think Rodgers looks to him a bit more this week, and we start to see the emergence of Jake Kumaro. You heard it here first, second, third, whatever. Is there a possibility that Big Bob Tonyan is our best tight end regardless of health? He has the look about him. That's a possibility. The upside is certainly there. It was interesting to read in Jason Wilde's piece. He had a nice sit down with Matt LaFleur, which, by the way, if you haven't read Wilde's piece for The Athletic, I highly encourage you to do so. And if you're going to whine and moan about needing a subscription, yes, you should subscribe to The Athletic. They're one of the few outlets actually covering the Packers. Do it. And Wilde has a really nice piece with LaFleur talking about how they put together the offensive game plan for the Cowboys game. And in it, he admits that they had a number of plays designed specifically for Tonyan that they were then unable to get to because of his injury. So I think, the potential is there. He's got to get on the field more. Rodgers has to look to him. Maybe they call those plays that are designed for him, etc. But I think it is only a matter of time before he starts to emerge and take more of those targets. Now, the problem, of course, now is that he's injured. Who knows how long this hip injury lasts and keeps him sidelined. LaFleur was asked today about going into this game with 2 healthy tight ends. He pointed to the Patriots game last night where the Patriots got dinged up at tight end with 2 tight ends. So we'll see if they bring Bayless back up from the practice squad. Nagler, can I have some money so I can subscribe to The Athletic? Andrew, I have no money, and I subscribe to The Athletic. If I can do it, you can do it, buddy. It's all about priorities. I don't eat. I read and drink. That's what I do. It's all about budgeting, man. Pay for Cheesehead TV, pay for Green Bay Press Gazette, pay for the Athletic. I'm a baller on a budget, man. See, Braden, you know what's up. Do you think the Gutekunst would have taken Hawkinson at 12 if he was available? He's perfect for Matt LaFleur's offense. No, I don't actually. That would have been a bit of a surprise. I would have loved it. I would have loved to have him in this offense, but no, that would have surprised me. You may have answered this, but I assume Rodgers is okay. Actually, I haven't talked about it. Steven, he did show up on the injury report yesterday with a knee injury, limited participant by the listing, but I have heard absolutely nothing that would indicate that he may not go. He should be good to go. If not, hey, baby, it's time for the Tim Boyle Laser Show. Bring it on. See, I eat. Therein lies the problem. Well, Andrew, you got to stop that. Next, is this Jimmy Graham's last year? I would have to think so. I'd be very surprised if they bought him back for that final year of his contract. But then again, I was surprised they paid that bonus of $9 million and brought him back this year. So who knows? Nagler's never right, you know? North Pole, Alaska, what's up? Are the Lions the favorites in the North this year? No. If Nagler has no money, it means that working hard and being talented doesn't pay. Well, the problem is I'm not talented and I don't work that hard. I drink beer and watch football. So that shoots your theory right out of the water there. He keeps blocking like last week. They just might. Brandon, that's a good point. Jimmy did have his best game as a blocker last week down in Dallas. Now, obviously, that's a low bar, but it was kind of eye-opening. It was certainly a surprise, no doubt about it. Nagler, is that a Rebels hat? It is a, what do you call it? Galaxy's Edge. It's from Galaxy's Edge. One of my followers works down at Disney World for the park and sent it to me as a gift for my birthday. It's very lovely. We appreciate what you do, Nagler. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. Nags, thoughts on Jair benching himself for a couple plays? I haven't read that. Is that what he did? Can we really credit the Lions for their last couple wins? It was mostly backup QBs. Last I checked, Carson Wentz isn't a backup QB. They won that game. LOL, you're welcome. I try to answer as many as I can. I assume no watch party since they are in Green Bay this week. That is correct, Craig. We will be back on watch party duty. I think it's Monday night against the Lions, and then the Raiders, and then I think it's the Kansas City game. We'll be back for the Kansas City game. Are people freaking out that Williams will steal AJ's carries? Not in the chat, thankfully. I'm sure they are somewhere. I'm sure some fantasy owner is, shoving pins into a Jamal Williams voodoo doll somewhere on this earth, but not the more learned, wise commenters at Cheesehead TV. They know what's up. Brian Balaga locker interview yesterday was in pretty high spirits. The energy is contagious. That's funny you say that because he is a bit of a curmudgeon, and it was noticeable how kind of for him jovial he was. So I would agree. I think the vibe around the team is really good right now. Is Jamal Williams playing on Monday? Yes, all signs point to he most certainly will be. When are you guys hiring Raji for on-the-field interviews? That's amazing. I'd love that. Love the article on Lucas Patrick and his praise for Rodgers. Oh, it was great. I mean, all those guys were in the locker room and heard that story, and then they all wrote it for various outlets, so you could read it pretty much anywhere. But, yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and all the leadership nonsense, everything you see publicly that disparages him is there for a reason. And there are plenty of instances of Rodgers doing great stuff, being a great teammate. And I know you guys know this, but it bears repeating. He is an excellent leader, a fantastic teammate. And, talking about that moment with Lucas Patrick, I mean, I've had moments with Aaron in the locker room where he said hello and we've exchanged pleasantries, whatever. And he's gone out of his way to, inquire about me and my life and my family, blah, blah, blah. And I'm podunk nobody blogger in New York. So, Aaron Rodgers, he's a different cat, but he's a good dude. McCarthy coaching the Vikings next year? God, I hope so. I really hope so. The drama would be off the charts. It'd be fantastic. Is Coach LaFleur Coach of the Year? Woo! Simmer down now. He's got a chance. I don't think there's any question there. He's definitely got a chance, but a lot of ball game left. McCarthy sucks. No, you suck. Ismail, thanks for the super chat. Does Adams' injury allow for more ball? Oh, it's Friday. I can't even read that as it's typed. Does it allow them to spread the ball around more? Yes, it does. I kind of likened it on transplants to when Brett Favre lost Sterling Sharp. It forced him to spread the ball around, and I think losing Adams will do wonders for both LaFleur and Rodgers. Now, Adams had to go to LaFleur and say, hey, I ain't been getting the ball a whole lot those first couple of weeks. And then we saw the explosion against Philly, and then he got hurt. So I think a happy medium is probably where they need to live. But right now, I think it's great that it forces them to use all sorts of different targets. By the time they hit Kumaro last week, they were up to 9 guys catching footballs. I'm all for that because that way the defense can't key on anybody. But don't get it twisted. Don't make the mistake. Don't make a mistake about it. Adams is way, way too valuable to have him on the sideline for too long. Everyone needs to. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Take 1 or 2 more here. What do you got, guys? It's okay, Ismail. I knew what you meant. I wouldn't be surprised to see McCarthy coaching the Browns next season. I don't know. I think there's too much drama behind the scenes between McCarthy and some of the front office people for that to happen. All right, everybody, get your minds out of the gutters. Cousins in that McCarthy offense would be funny to watch. Yeah, it would be. Although I think it would be a very different type of offense. You guys got to remember that was very much for Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to do the same thing with Kirk Cousins. All right. Ismail, don't worry about it. I know. It's mostly me just being juvenile. You were fine. Totally fine. Nags, I met Jordy at the airport. Got a picture with him. Are you ever starstruck anymore? Not by football players. Not really. Last time I got oh my gosh, look at him. He's incredible. Was Cam Newton at the Super Bowl. He's an absolute rock star. And seeing him was probably the last time I was in awe of seeing a football player. But as far as Packers go, now once you're in the locker room and you see them and you interact with them all the time, it kind of takes the shine off a little bit. Now that doesn't mean they're not great guys. You still have fun, you still talk to them. They're still really cool. You still root for them, etc. But yeah, I don't know. That's not a real star-studded thing when you kind of know them on a day-by-day basis. Nags, is next year the year for Leroy Butler? God, I hope so. It is absolutely absurd that he's not in the Hall of Fame already, as you guys all know. But, man, I hope so. Maybe this wide open field, they've got the 20 candidates going in at one time, etc. Maybe that helps. I hope so, because it is patently absurd that he's not in the Hall of Fame. And it is beyond ridiculous that John Lynch made it to a finalist standing before he did. And it's absurd John Lynch is being considered over him at all. But I'll save that rant. Monday Night Football, Packers just win, baby. Gary, wrapping it up perfectly. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to your question. Nearly 300 of you here on a Friday afternoon. Let's get out of here, man. Let's go get a beer, chill out, enjoy our weekends. I'll be in Wisconsin on Sunday afternoon. Game is Monday night. Look for all the great Cheesehead TV content you come to know and love. Please support what we do via Patreon. All we ask is $5 a month. It supports each and every facet of Cheesehead TV. And if you don't want to do that, totally get it. But please subscribe, like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.